Hello, welcome to the week that was. I think it's actually 2 weeks worth, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
you were off sick and then Janine and I were going to do the week that was.
Yep.
But we got smashed. We really did get smashed. It was such a hectic time. And we say that all the time, don't we? We say it's been a horrendous week or it's been a crazy week. But I guess that's really the life of a small country pound that services 3 areas. It is always busy, but I don't think we've had it this busy for a long time. We had 53 odd dogs in the facility at one time. We are 25 bays, but we had 53. We had more coming and going that day, but at the end of the day it was like 53 in care. And so 45 of those were puppies, believe it or not, and that was only from 3 households. And that's incredibly harder than having adult dogs, because with puppies you're breaking up fights because you do need to house them together, otherwise they cry, they get comfort from each other, but then you get the poo, and then they stomp in all the poo, and then they jump up on you and they jump up on each other, so you're constantly bathing them.
Poop everywhere.
There is poop everywhere. What we also found is that some of these puppies came in with bellies full of worms, just worms. So, you know, it took me a whole day to chip them, get all their vet stuff ready, you know, like vaccinating, doing all the paperwork, worming them out. Some of them had to be bathed in melisate because some of them looked like they were recovering from ringworm, wasn't it?
Yeah, it looked like it.
So Don and Tani scanned them, and thankfully they didn't show up ringworm, and all the scabs had fallen off and the hair was growing back. But when you're in a busy facility, you've then got to think, oh my gosh, that could go right through the place. So you've got to quarantine them. But those dogs then need bathing every second day in special solution just in case. So it was just hectic. We had volunteers coming in left, right and centre just to help us. And it was crazy days where when it's an adult dog, you get it out of its kennel, you put it in the exercise run, you take it for a walk or whatever. You know, you do what you need to do. They're easy. They're happy just to sleep the day away. But when you've got puppies, that is a whole nother avenue. I don't think I even counted or could even estimate how many puppy pads we went through with the tiniest puppies, which were about that big, Tani?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, and so we had a net set up that we put a divider in the middle, and we would have them over one side all set up, and then we'd have the other side ready to go, so that if they started pooping, we would pick them up, put them over to the other side, clean that side, so they weren't laying in it, they weren't fighting in it. And I swear to God, that's all I did was change puppy pads. And I just finished putting the last pad down, and I'm like, no! And
starts all over again.
And then it was like, quickly run and get another puppy pad to replace that puppy pad. And then as I turned my back, another one would be doing it. I think, I give up. I really, really give up. But, you know, it would be 1 a.m. in the morning changing puppy pads, because by morning, the girls would do it last thing of the day at 4 o'clock. I would then do it again at 7 o'clock, and I'd do it again at midnight or 1 a.m. But by the time you walk back in at 6 a.m., that whole room smelt so bad. And when you just looked at it, it was like, oh my God. It was just everywhere. And they're there with dobs of poo on their head, happy to see you, want to give you a little kiss, and you're like, I'm good. So it's been hectic.
Okay, everybody.
Dee wants me to go through and show everybody the babies we've got. So I can add some photos on, but I'll try and get some in. Hi, babies. Hi. We've got 2 big chunky monkeys, and then we've got the sisters. Hi. There's one down the bottom. I can see your tail wagging. Hi, baby. Hi. And then we've got Willie, who's going home today. Hi, Willie. Got Cash isn't a baby, but we can say hi to Cash. And then over here, who have we got? These little babies. Oh, hi, darling. Hello, sweetheart. So this one's about 6 months old. Little cutie. And then we've got some stuffy babies. Hi, babies. Hi. Oh, goodness. And then we've got some more babies. Let's see if I can get my phone in here. Nope, that's not working. Sorry, guys. This is horrendous filming. I apologise. We can see some noses there. Hi. And we'll go. Got some more stuffer babies. Hi, kids. Oh my goodness. Hi. Oh, you're so cute. Yeah. And then we've got a mama with her babies. So we've got a little puppy pile over here. In the back corner. I know, Mama, you're doing a good job. And then keep going, because you know we've got more. When it rains, it pours, hey? Okay, then we've got these little sweethearts. Hi, look at you in your little jammies. Good job. And then we've got more. Hi, everybody. You guys are all look at that cranky little face at the back. You're okay, darling. Hi, I know, it's almost dinner time. And then we've got more babies. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Thank you. So vocal. Hi, babies. Now we've got more. Hello, cutie bums. Hi. You're all right, darling. Hello. And that is our babies, guys. Just a couple. Just a couple.
You're the fattest one.
Oh my Lord. So guys, they're just starting to have some milk and some puppy food mixed in together. And they're still getting used to it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Mama's not happy. She can hear you guys crying. Oh, darling. Goodness me. Hi. What's wrong? Are you trying to escape? Hello. Hello. Little baby. Hi, bud. And then you lot.
Could you put that pickies over the other? One of the other avenues that I've also been doing is that I work very closely with our ranger service, and we tackle a lot of problem households, and it can be households that are overbreeding. It could be aggressive animals, it could be sick animals. A lot of the times we're getting a lot of calls from the public about the welfare of animals, and although we don't handle the welfare aspect and we guide them of who to call and whatnot, sometimes people take matters into their own hands and it can have disastrous consequences. Now, I spoke recently about people letting dogs out that had a known history of killing other animals, and these people did that thinking, okay, well, if I get those dogs out of the yard, they'll get the help they need. But what they ended up doing was killing another animal, and that resulted in them having to be euthanized because the owner surrendered them for euthanasia. So, you know, we're always conscious of that. We've got to try and help where we can. It's we all try and do our part, whether or not we can go the full hog of it or not. But recently there was a number of cases where, you know, there was a person that was seen dumping a dog on a country road, and there was a household that had a very emaciated dog, and we got the call. So, you know, in these sorts of situations, we are limited to what we can do, but, you know, we work with such a fabulous team of rangers that they are in this job because they do care about the animals. It's not just a job to them. So what we have been doing is going out and just checking out the situation. We can go out and see if it's compliant. We can get eyes on the dog, and if there's really big major welfare concerns, then we can actually, a ranger can then try and expedite that with, you know, the powers that do have that authority to go in and seize animals. And recently we did that with one dog, and, you know, we went out there to talk to the owner and stuff, because I actually knew who the owner was. I'd dealt with them before. Thankfully, when we got there, the RSPCA inspector was there. And anyway, it was a case that, you know, the owner obviously wasn't happy about being confronted about the state of her dog and was less than forthcoming. And this is where I suppose we work together with other government departments. So we were able to assist in getting that situation resolved. So that was a good outcome for that beautiful dog. Other cases, sometimes we have wins and sometimes we don't. And it always hits home to us that we couldn't help that animal. You know, it was outside of what we could do. And it really doesn't sit well with us. And we had a couple of cases like that in the last 2 weeks. And it doesn't sit well with me. But, you know, I can only do what we can do. My team can only do what we can do, and the rangers can only do what we can do within our guidelines. But one of the things that we also have been doing is working with RSPCA on some of those problem households that keep breeding their dog, keep contributing to the problem. And so what I did is I actually approached those people and said, look, if we give you free desexing, can we please desex your dogs? And we managed to achieve that with the help of RSPCA, and that were fabulous. A lot of the times these people don't even have vehicles to be able to transport animals. So last week I spent a great deal of my time picking up animals, taking them over to the vets to get desexed, drive back to the facility, and then later on go back and get them and take them home. Most owners were really thankful. They were very grateful that we went out of the box to help them. But one such animal was not so kind to me and vomited all through my vehicle on the way back. So, cheers. All in a good deed, they say. As usual, we've had a lot of dumpings and attempted dumpings, haven't we?
Always.
So when we question people about where they found the dog, how long they've held the dog, you know, and stuff like that, you get the people. You had one that went to get his license and then took off.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was fun.
But like, taking a long time to go get his ID. I've had one, I think you've had a couple, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
I was sitting at my massage. Once a week I go and get my back done so I can keep going with what I do. And Tani sends me a text, You're going to have fun with this one. Boy, have we had fun with this one. I have been abused. I've been threatened. They have come to the facility. They've prevented staff from being able to lock up. We've had to call police via 000. You name it, we've had a week of aggressive people just because you query them about something that doesn't seem right.
Yep.
And we are the a-holes. How dare we? And you just see it all, the abuse that we have endured in the last week. It's really taken a toll, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's exhausting.
I've had to have about half a dozen chocolates to deal with this thing, and my coffee. Oh, there's not enough coffee in the world for this crap. But you know what? I always say that I will get to the truth, and I don't stop. I think one of our powers that be said to me, Dee, you're like a dog with a bone. You just don't stop. But I think, who's going to get to the truth? Who's going to fight for this? And who's going to pay the consequences when you do work out what they've done? Nobody is going to if you just let it slide. You know, and I feel like if I can speak up for those animals, I can get to the truth, I can help them reclaim a little part of themselves, whether or not it's a name or what's happened to bring this on, then I owe that to them, because then that helps me work out what they need and what I need to do for them. And so I never apologize for that. And you know what? And in a way, I kind of hope that if I have caused them some heartache for doing the wrong thing, maybe they'll think twice about doing it to another animal. Because how many animals pay the price at facilities? Now, we were recently talking to somebody in another pound. They have a high kill rate. They just advertise the animal once, move on. If they can't come up with a solution, that animal then goes. You know, they do what is required, and if nothing comes of it in that week or 2 weeks, then we tried, you know. And I find that really sad, because I know when an animal comes into my facility, there's deadlines, and I'll give it my all. Some days the girls will not see me for hours on end, will ya?
Mm-hmm.
Because they call it, what do you call it, the hunting?
Yeah, I usually just say that she's, out on a hunt.
Yep. And you know what? Most times we get to the truth. It kills me for the ones that I can't, but you can always be assured that I do my best. But anyway, so we've had a lot of that this week. A lot of attempted dumpings and dump dogs.
Yep.
Yeah. We've had a lot of dogs come in too that haven't been in the best condition, have they, Tani?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we recently had a little stuffy cross dachshund come in, and his ribs were showing, and the finder said to me, look, there was 3 of them. And I said, were they in the same condition? And the lady said, yeah, they were. And I said, oh, okay. So anyway, I ended up finding the owner, and this little dog was surrendered. I could see that the family was struggling, and we ended up taking the other 2 dogs as well. And although we were over capacity, it didn't sit right with me that these dogs were struggling. And gosh, I wish I could take every dog that crosses my path or doesn't cross my path, but I get to know about it. It's not always possible, but in this instant, when the first dog came in, I started networking straight away to see if I could get this dog out, because we were, you know, in the midst of our double over capacity situation. And I said to them, look, if I can get the other 2, will you help with that? And 3 rescues stepped up for those dogs, and it was amazing. And we ended up getting those dogs surrendered, and not only did we get those dogs to rescue, we got a hell of a lot of other dogs. And Don did many road trips in the last fortnight, moving animals around and driving countless hours at our own cost to get these animals into homes and rescues where they needed to be. And, you know, that makes me incredibly proud that, you know, we were able to help so many animals, but also network with rescues that think like us and think, no, that's not acceptable. Let me see what I can do. Let me put a feeler out on our pages. Let's see if we can find a carer. These remarkable rescues are in it for the right reasons. They don't look and say, oh, it's a staffy, you know, which we have got rescues that won't take puppies over 8 weeks of age. They'll take 8 weeks and under. We've got rescues that will only take the designer ones, you know, your Maltese, your Shih Tzus, your Poodles, your full-bred Dachshunds, your Cavaliers, all those sorts of dogs. I can get rescues 10 times over. But sometimes you're dealing with your Kelpies, your Cattles, your Border Collies, your Staffies,
Mastiffs.
your Mastiffs, and all these sorts of beautiful dogs that are fabulous, and it's not their fault if they're in the situations they're in. And you've got some rescues that'll go, let me see what I can do, you know. And I would love to name each of those rescues in this segment, but I can't at the moment, and you'll know why shortly, why I can't. It's to protect them, because we've had some things going on behind the scenes, and I will not put those rescues in harm's way. But to those rescues, you know who you are, and we are very, very grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you. Okay, so what's been happening behind the scenes? We have had a break-in, and we had a dangerous dog stolen. And, you know, I've been running facilities for a long time, and I've only ever had 2 dogs stolen from the facilities, and each of those times I got them back. And that's what recently happened. So very early in the morning, I started doing my investigations, trying to work out who did it. Obviously, most owners are not silly enough to do it. They try and rally friends and family and stuff like that. So anyway, I spent a great deal of time, you know, doing my investigations, and I came up with some things, and I passed that on to the police. Very late Thursday night, I think about maybe 20 to 10, I sent them a whole heap of information. I think it was Friday or Saturday morning.
Saturday morning,
I got a phone call at just after 3:30 in the morning by the police. My tip had panned out, and they got the dog. And so, yep, here I am flying out of bed in my nightie. I said, I'm on my way, but I better change first. So we, you know, we had that. We also had an aggressive owner, obviously, that came to the facility. Aggressive person come to the facility, and we had a number of those too, didn't we?
Yeah, we've had a few lately.
Yeah, we've had cranky owners come to the facility because we've stolen their dog. And so, you know, we've had the police at the facility a few times this week, including forensic. So, it's been a week. Trust me. So, the reason why I can't name the rescues that were involved is they were instrumental in helping us get a number of dogs out, including some of the dogs that they broke in for. And thankfully, I was one step ahead of them, and they went on the road trip So we would love to show our appreciation and name them for what they did for us, but we can't. It's just not worth it. We are dealing with some aggressive people on a daily basis, and I'm not about to put anybody else in harm's way. It's bad enough. Sometimes we cop it. We cop it a lot, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
I think quite a few of us girls have been assaulted one way or another, whether or not it's been spat on, whether or not it's been pushed, slapped. All of us have had something happen to us at the hands of people that feel like it's their God-given right to be able to touch us. So, I won't put anybody else in that way. Okay. So we've had a lot of dangerous dogs coming in the last 2 weeks, haven't we, Tara?
Yeah, there's been a lot.
More than what we've actually got allocated dangerous dog kennels for.
Mm-hmm.
So with our facility, we have 2 dangerous dog kennels, and quite often you've probably seen on Sunday Sangers, we'll have, if they're bonded pairs or there's puppies, they're the bigger kennels because it's effectively 2 kennels joined together with a divider in the middle. And how that works is the staff will clean one side. When they're ready to go over, they'll put the food in, and the dog will go over to get its breakfast or dinner, and they'll be able to close it off, and then they'll clean the remaining side. This last fortnight, we've had a hell of a lot of dangerous dogs come in, so much so that we've had to start using normal kennels. And of course, it's very challenging when you want to go into that kennel, the dog's ready to attack you, and you're in a very small, confined area. Well, obviously, we don't want anybody getting hurt, so I had to build some barriers recently to protect us. So this is my barrier that I built. Dawn was quite impressed. She said to me, "Who did it for you?" And I said, "I did it." And she's like, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes." I went to Bunnings, told them what I wanted. They guided me to each aisle of where the materials was, and I came back here and I started putting it together. Brioni helped me by tightening up the bolts, but I did it all. And I think I did a pretty good job.
Well done.
So we've been seeing lots and lots of birds lately, and a lady came to the pound the other day and she said, "I love your bird feeder. It's a cracker." So all we did is we got a dog kennel, a wooden one that people throw out all the time, and Dawn got her renovator's tool and cut the sides off, and we went to Bunnings and got some of the terracotta plasticky plant pot,
Like the bases.
the bases, yeah, and we put them in and we fill them with the bird feed, and that way if it rains it stays dry. Well, recently the buggers have been little, we were laughing about this the other day, wasn't it?
Yep.
The big cockatiels and the
Cockatoos.
What they come and do is they take the tray out of the doghouse and scatter it everywhere. So I thought, I'm going to get smarter than these guys. I'm going to get some tent pegs, and I pegged the trays down. For the best part, it's been working, except yesterday Tani laughed and said, "One of your trays is over there." And I'm like, no! They outsmarted me and got one tray out, but it's such a huge hit. We see 30, 40 birds a day coming in for feed, and it's lovely.
Yeah, I like it.
I love it
It's
too.
really nice.
We are very blessed over here that we have some fantastic volunteers, don't we?
Yeah, we love them.
We love our volunteers. And it seems to be the same regular crew all the time, except we've now got a sewing crew. And obviously Beck is at the helm of that, and she has had some girls coming along and they've been having sewing days. And it's really great because they're making things not only for the comfort of the animals at the facility, but they've been making things for market stands so that we can do fundraising. So these girls are pretty talented, aren't they?
Yeah,
Tony?
they're really clever.
I can't sew.
Neither.
I can't diamond dot. I probably don't have the patience for diamond dotting.
Fair.
But these girls, they're doing it all, and we've been seeing some really, really nice stuff. This is one thing that they made.
Oh, cute.
I know. They've made key rings, they've made cups, all the stuff to sell at markets so that people can buy them for their own animals, like, you know, their cage blankets or beds or thick things for the animals, dog coats. I think they've got collars. I think they've got just a lot of stuff. So we're really lucky for our sewing crew. We've also obviously got Pat and Sue that do our cats, and they're always here religiously. Sometimes we joke that Sue is being downgraded because she might miss a day here and there to go to the doctors for no less, but you know.
How dare she?
I know, right? And then we've got Pete, who is our one foster carer that he just loves any dogs. He loves his staffies. But recently we've had a dog here that's one of my cases that I'm investigating at the moment. He didn't cope here, did he?
No,
he was
he's so
vomiting
stressed.
and he chatted.
Mm-hmm.
Drool coming out, and he would just be like chatter, drooling, very stressed. And I said, oh my goodness, we cannot have this. So we sent him out to emergency foster care with Pete, and Pete's already given him a bath. He's already sitting at the kitchen table and he's now a lounge hogger.
Yes.
You know, so we are very blessed to have wonderful volunteers. So you guys would have seen that we did our usual Sunday singers, and it was a little bit different this time, as in we had more puppies than adult dogs. But I was like, oh, what are we going to do? And we thought, let's just give them cocktail frankfurts. You've never seen, it even happens with the adults, don't they? Those little cocktail frankfurts, they absolutely love them, but they're slippery little suckers. They were just flying here, flying there, but they had a really good time with them. We were thinking about slicing them and putting them onto sandwiches, but I thought, let's get the Hopdale rolls, cut a slit in it, and hopefully they were fine. But being that they were such longer rolls than the dogs themselves that could cope, everyone said, cut them up. Well, look what happened. The little sausages were flying all over the place. But everybody enjoyed themselves.
That's the main thing.
That's it. So if you haven't checked it out, look at the video. So every once in a while we get requests from people to, you know, I need to surrender my animal. And, you know, obviously we get smashed with everything that we do on a daily basis. That, you know, we offer assisted rehoming, we put them on our waiting list, and we encourage them to keep reaching out to other rescues as well, because, you know, unfortunately we are very small here, and, you know, it can be an extensive wait. But every once in a while a case comes across your path that you think, oh God, this is urgent. And we get quite used to people saying to us that the animal, I'll just have to euthanize the animal. We get that a lot, and we always say that's just emotional blackmail on us. They want it to be on our conscience. But then there are cases that unfortunately you know that they're not joking, that they've got no choice. And at the moment we do have that case in a dog called Rocco. Now Rocco is quite familiar to me. He's a big giant staffy, big boy, solid, but when he first came across my path he was quite skinny, wasn't well looked after. The lady tried to bring him here as a stray, said that she found him in Raymond Terrace, which is not our LGA actually, it's quite a distance away. That night the dog was found roaming on our road out the front, and it turned out that it was the same dog that this lady had tried to bring in as a stray. We then since found out it was a person involved in a relationship breakdown. She had the dog, she didn't want it, and this was her way of moving the dog on. So anyway, I ended up getting hold of the owner. He came and got the dog. He then subsequently rehomed the dog about 6 months ago. This is that dog. Now, the lady that took Rocco on loves him very much. He has put on a lot of weight. He is in brilliant condition considering he wasn't like that. But he's like that now. So the lady that's had him for the last 6 months has done a remarkable job. He's got a beautiful coat. He's put on so much weight. Probably a little bit too much weight. And she calls him her melon head. The problem is that the lady has had to move. And it's not something that she's done wrong. She was in a family home that, you know, she expected to be there for 20 more years. Unfortunately, the home has been sold, and everywhere that she has applied for won't let her have pets. Now, she is having to go somewhere where she can't take him. And as much as we all say the laws have changed, let's face it, is any landlord or real estate going to be silly enough to say, no, you can't take the dog there? Because what's going to happen? They're going to find themselves in trouble for breaching the new laws. They're going to find another reason to say somebody else was more suitable. Now, they know she has the dog, okay? Plus, these people are moving in with other people, and not always can. If you're moving in with somebody, you can't always take a dog because their dog might not be social. I couldn't have anybody in my house with anybody's dog because my dogs wouldn't accept them, and I think yours is the same, isn't it, Tony?
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes situations occur that are so out of what you expected to happen that you just can't find a solution. So they've come to us and said, you know, look, we've tried everywhere. We've been trying everywhere. No one can help us. And unfortunately, we're in the same boat. We have got, why we've been seeing so many dangerous dogs is we've got a lot of dangerous dog compliance households that are being audited at the moment. And if anything is not compliant, those dogs are coming in, and we've got to have those kennels for those dogs. Now, you know, there was some serious dog attacks last night that I'm aware of. People were taken away in ambulances, like in an ambulance, you know. We've got to have kennel space for those dogs that come in. They cannot be left on the street, no way. So the situation is we need to find Rocco somewhere to go. He's got a deadline of tomorrow. He is booked in for euthanasia. Now, Rocco has lived with other dogs. I know that. He is dominant over other dogs, and that's the problem why I think he should be the only dog in the household. He needs secure fencing. Now, according to the lady, he's good with cats, he's good with kids, he's good with people. She didn't answer about the dog because of the situation of him being dominant over the other dog. I feel like there should be a household out there that has no other dogs, that is looking for companion. He is a cracker of a dog. Friends and family have said that about Rocco. He is a cracker of a dog. He's strong. I watched Don, as we were having photos, get dragged all the way along. He's a big boy, probably because of the extra weight put on. But he needs a home, guys. Now, we have done a separate post on our page. Please share that. His time is running out. We don't have a solution for him, and we need one. This dog deserves a chance. Put yourself in their shoes. They've reached out. They haven't taken him somewhere and dumped him. They're doing everything right. They're asking for help. they've put their hand up. So please share this post as a matter of urgency. We will put a screenshot of the post, or maybe you can include what I've written in it again, Tani.
Yep.
Let's get him out there and find this boy a safe place to go. Thanks, guys.
Okay, Dee. We've come to the end dish of the video.
Finally.
2 weeks of catching up. Let's do our happy, sad, and frustrating.
Okay, what do you want?
Let's start with the frustrating.
Frustrating is the amount of dumpings, the amount of abuse that we've copped, and the condition of animals that I've seen. But I suppose the most frustrating for me was I had a lead on where Max might have been, the missing little foxy, where we sent Pixie home to WA. We had a lead of where he was going to be. I drove an hour and a half away and it wasn't the right Max. So, a bit frustrating and sad as well that I couldn't get Max home to them. They still ask me all the time if I've had any luck. It's really sad.
It is sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that was a mixture of frustrating and sad, but what is your actual sad for this week?
I think I've got three sads, really. One of our past adoption dogs passed away this week, which was Jack, which is Janine's dog. Unfortunately, Jack really deteriorated, and Janine had to make that hard decision. And to see Janine and her husband and her son going through such heartache, it's really sad, because they only had him for a couple of years and he was their everything. And I remember Janine saying to me that when they lost their dog Panzer, they'd had Panzer from a tiny little puppy. It was really, really sad, but this one really affected them a lot as well, even though it was a shorter time frame, because I think they got to know the history of Jack, and Zeta, and that dog had always didn't have a great life, was passed around and living outside and ultimately left in an abandoned property. And when you see dogs like Jack and Zeta and all the other dogs that are abandoned, it's not like when you lose, it's always hard losing your own animal that you've had forever, but those dogs have had a great life, there was nothing more that animal could have wanted other than to live forever. But these animals, they've had to fight and survive for everything they've got, and it breaks you when this type of situation occurs.
That's right. I'll just hold it for a sec.
Yeah. And so, just seeing that sheer heartache that they went through, and I feel very sad for them.
Okay. Well, that's your first one.
My second and third one are a joint one. So, Leanne and Brioni have since resigned. Leanne has officially retired. Now, Leanne was a ranger on the Central Coast with me and Tani down there, and she actually retired from the council, couldn't stand to be at home with the other half, and said, I am not ready to retire and stay home. I've still got a lot to give. And so she rang me up and she said, I want to come back. I want to work. Can I come and work for you? And I said, yeah, no worries. So Leanne has been with us here for a few years, but unfortunately her husband is not well, and it's time now that Leanne has to stay home with him. And they're going to spend some time travelling and do some stuff. So Leanne has officially retired. So we are going to miss her.
Yes.
Brioni is another different kettle of fish. She has resigned and she's gone on to a different avenue of work. She has spent 13 years in the animal industry, and I suppose it is an industry that has done what it does to people. It chews you out and spits you out and breaks you on a daily basis, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You see such heartache trying to help the animals, and it's not the animals that cause that heartache, it's the people behind it and the things that you see that is done to them or gets done to them, you know, in the end. And so Brioni has decided that she's had enough, and you know, she's now found herself another job that brings her peace and harmony, something that we would all love to have in our lives, but she's taking that moment to heal from what she's seen over the last 13 years. So sad times for us. We've missed, you know, we've lost 2 of our workers and friends.
Yep.
And yeah, so that's our sadness.
Okay, so we've heard our frustrating and our sad. Let's end on a happy, which is going to be a big happy.
I think it just justifies a good clap. So I am very happy to announce my happiness is the amount of animals that we have moved in a 2-week period. To date, we've moved 46 animals. Now we still have 9 here. That just shows how many animals we have.
10.
moved. 10.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have 10.
Yeah.
Sorry. We have been just overwhelmed. But I'm happy to announce we've had some great adoptions. So Harry, who used to be named by Willy Wagtail, has been adopted. Our little Slim Jim with his big giant smile has been adopted.
Breaking all the hearts, that kid.
That, oh my gosh, we had a lot of people wanting to adopt him.
So much interest.
Pepper, who was known through us as Shadow, got adopted. And Chewy, who was Koa, he was our unusual puppy. He was an American Bulldog cross Belgian Shepherd.
Yes.
We hope to never see that breed again. So that was our adoptions. Rescues, on the other hand, are you ready?
We're as ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, now there was a bit of a theme, guys, because we had so many puppies. I started to go A, B, C and go down that path. And I got that idea off a rescue, actually. So, ready? Charlie, Cooper, Cleo, Cotton, Coco, Carter, Storm, Ernie, Rogue, Adler, Callie, Cash, Wombat, Toby, Dennis, Donkey, Dozer, Delta, Doc, Digger, Alfie, Quizzy, Amani, Minnie, Rhonda, Ace, Augie, Arlo, Andy, Axel, Addie, Pup 1, Pup 2, Pup 3, Pup 4, Pup 5, Pup 6, Pup 7, Pup 8, Pup 9, Pup 10, and finally Pup 11.
Goodness me.
All those guys were too tiny to microchip to be able to name them. So they were just under 5 weeks of age, so we can't obviously chip them until they're 6 weeks of age. But that is 46 animals to rescue and 4 adoptions.
Goodness me.
And watch next week's space for the rest.
Oh, yes. Going to be lots next week, isn't there?
Next week. Anyway, thanks guys. That's the week that was. Sorry it's a long one. Tani's arm. Oh, I forgot to mention, I did have a funny moment.
Mm.
So, Tani doesn't know I'm about to talk about this one.
No.
So, with Leanne and Brioni, we took them out for tea to give them a farewell dinner. Tani is now gluten-free, vegetarian.
Yes.
So, she's like, what can I eat? And I said, oh, what about garlicky, something garlicky? Because we've had creamy garlic veggies. Something along the way went wrong, because if Tani eats gluten, she looks like she's pregnant.
I do look like I'm pregnant.
Tani was pregnant the next day. She sat here and she went, look, Dee, I'm pregnant. I said, you are not. She's like, gee. That was my funny moment.
Right.
Anyway, guys, talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.